Today, we're going to learn how we can do this awesome gradient map effect where we put a portrait in and we add some gradients to the face and we add some texture to the background. This is going to cover a little bit about how we can add gradient maps to images and how we can add texture and then using blend modes make it look really nice. So first thing we're going to do is find a portrait. I went on Pexels and found this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag that into Photoshop. And I'm going to select them from the background like we know. So I'm going to go to get my quick selection tool. Select subject. And that did pretty good, but I want to get some of that hand. So I'm going to go to select and mask. And I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to make sure I have my refine edge tool. And I'm just going to kind of brush inside those areas. And you're going to notice it doesn't look too good right now. But if I enhance the contrast and I make it a little smoother, notice that makes that selection look a little bit better. Perfect. So I'm going to output this to a new layer. Again, these settings might vary based on your image. And then I'm going to click OK. All right. So we got this ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a solid black color just for temporary reasons. So I'm going to go to my black and white cookie. I'm going to go solid color. I'm just going to make it black for now. And I'll just move this below my image. All right. Now I'm going to desaturate this photo. So I'm going to go up to image. I want to adjust it. So I'm going to go to adjustments. And then I'm going to go to hue and saturation. And I'm just going to get rid of all the color in that photo. Perfect. I'm then going to adjust the levels to make some more contrast here. So I'm going to go image, adjustments, levels. I'm going to make my blacks a little richer. My whites a little richer. That looks pretty good. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to add what we call a gradient map. And a gradient map is going to change the whites and grays and blacks to be a progression of color that I really, really like. So I'm going to go to my black and white cookie, and I'm going to go to gradient map. Now, right now I have a black and white gradient, but I can make this any gradient I want. So I'm going to click on that. And there's all these presets in here, the basics, there's blues, so I could do like, a blue to aqua, okay? But notice how it's adding the gradient to the entire image. I don't want that. I want it to just be on my image. So I'm going to right click on my gradient map layer, and I'm going to choose create clipping mask. Now that clips it right down into my photograph. So let's go back to our gradient and change this a little bit. There's more blues in here that we can choose from. Blues. Notice how that goes from dark and it kind of reverses things. We don't like that. We want it to be dark to light that way. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to double click on this little square, and that pulls up my color picker. And I'm going to choose a blue that's pretty dark, kind of like that. Perfect. And then I'm going to choose maybe, ooh, I like this kind of light blue, or even like a yellow looks kind of cool. Kind of a green maybe. I'll stick with that kind of light aqua color. Perfect. Now that I have this gradient made, I can save it to my gradient menu. And we're going to want to do that so we can use it in our background. So I'm going to click New, okay, and that'll add it right into our menu. And then I'm going to click OK. And now we're going to add our gradient in the background. So I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to drag it below my image. And then I'm going to grab my gradient tool. It looks like a little square with a gradient in it. Up at the top, you're going to see you have a gradient here. If you scroll down, you should be able to find your saved gradients that you made. Mine, I think, saved in my blues folder. Yep, there it is. Perfect. So now that I have my gradient color chosen, you're going to notice you get this little crosshair tool while you have your gradient tool. I'm going to click, hold, and I can drag in any direction to create the gradient in the background. That looks pretty good, but I want some more darks in there. So I'm going to actually start a little bit lower. Can even start here. There we go. That looks pretty good. I like that. A little too much. You want it to be like a nice transgression to where you're not seeing too much change in color. I like that. That looks pretty good. Now, if we click on our gradient map layer, we're going to talk a little bit about blend modes. And blend modes use different filters to blend one layer into another. So blend modes are where we see the word normal. So if I click that and I select through these, notice how it's blending the color differently into my body layer, right? So you get different color changes, all that kind of good stuff. I actually like that one a lot. I like color, and I like darker color looks really good. Nice. I can also do this with my person layer to blend them into the background a little bit. So notice how it actually gives you this kind of nice, ooh, that looks pretty cool with the fade at the bottom by the shirt. I like that one where the shirt kind of disappears and we see the shirt a little. Yeah, that's my favorite. Perfect. I'm going to actually blow him up a little bit so we can see more of his face. Kind of like that. Perfect. Now we're going to add a texture in the background to help give the background some dimension and some depth. It looks too flat right now. So I'm going to go to Google and I'll type in texture. Let's try let's try this one, see how this one looks. And you'll try different ones. They might not look good or might not work well. So I'm going to drag this onto my photo. Make it nice and big. Okay. And now I'm going to put it, you can change where you want it. I'm just going to try some blend modes right now and see how this looks. That actually looks pretty good. So using our blend modes, it's going to blend this texture into everything. That looks pretty good too. Okay. Let's see how that looks below the face. Nice. See how that takes and brings more of the face in? So when you're adding your textures and using your blend modes, you're going to want to move things and try things in different spots to see what kind of difference they make. I can adjust the opacity here. All right. But so far that looks pretty good. I actually like the way that that looks. So again, what you're going to do, find a portrait, throw it into Photoshop. We removed it from its background. We made it black and white. We added a gradient map to it. We made sure that we clipped using a clipping mask. Okay, that we clipped that gradient to our photo. We added our gradient background, did some layer blending, and then we added our texture and did some layer blending with that. All right, so enjoy, have fun, create something kind of cool, a nice looking portrait. Make sure you export it as a JPEG and submit it to the gradient map assignment. Awesome. Have fun, enjoy, and we'll see you soon.